no matter what institutions do, no matter what funding is available, no matter what equipment or infrastructure for research is available, eventually it is people and their mindsets of the researchers that will make India great in health research.
Welcome to ICMR Radio, Unpacking Health Research in India. This is ICMR's brand new podcast that spotlights some of the remarkable work that the Indian Council of Medical Research is doing. I'm your host, Dr. Indira Behara. Today, for the podcast's very first episode, we have a special guest with us, Dr. Rajiv Bahl, Secretary to the Government of India, Department of Health Research, and Director General of this august institution, the ICMR. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Bahl. Dr. Bahl has over 30 years of experience leading health research and translating this research into policy in India and across the globe. Before leading the ICMR, he was head of research for maternal, newborn, child, and adolescent health at the World Health Organization. In this episode, Dr. Bahl has kindly agreed to share his vision with us for ICMR and its contribution to a Viksit Bharat goal of 2047. Thank you once again and welcome to the first episode, Dr. Bahl. So let's begin, Dr. Bahl. What are ICMR's major research priorities at the moment? And perhaps you can shed some light on what some of the most exciting things are that are emerging from ICMR that the world has to look forward to.
Coming out of the pandemic and the response to the pandemic and the contributions that everybody knows that ICMR made towards the pandemic, which did not only include the ability to test, track, treat the cases of COVID, but also to prevent through development of indigenous vaccines in India. We are looking at various things as our key priorities for the next 5 years. And as part of that, I'd like to highlight 4 key things. The first is actually related to future pandemic preparedness. So ICMR has been a major partner in the National One Health Mission, which is to prepare ourselves for future pandemics on 2 things. One is to do technology-enhanced surveillance, which includes genome sequencing, but also all the molecular methods that we have learned during the pandemic, but also to have platforms for fast-track development of medical countermeasures in case a new outbreak ever comes our way. The second big priority that we are working towards is to make health technologies which are indigenous and affordable and ensure that the prices are less than 1/10 or even sometimes less than 1/50th of the cost that is available globally. If we want to really democratize and make sure that there is access not only within India but rest of the world, India holds the key to develop such affordable technology. And we are focusing on medical devices, diagnostics, vaccines, therapeutics, and trying to develop them within the country in partnership with other research institutions, academic institutions, but more importantly also with the industry. In this technology, we are also looking at India becoming a leader in developing frontier technologies. I'll give you one example, which is gene and cell therapy. So we are working with different Indian partners to develop gene therapies for the future, which will mean that we will be able to get access to what now citizens of other countries are starting to get access to. But they cost $3 million approximately per person. And as I said, our goal is to make those frontier technologies at 1/50th the price. There is already success in India for what is a therapy for treatment of, a cellular therapy for treatment of cancer. For example, This is a therapy made by IIT Mumbai and the Tata Memorial Hospital.
Right.
And this is the first CAR T-cell therapy that was recently launched in India. The cost from something like 3 crores came down to something like 30 lakhs.
That's a huge jump.
A huge, huge jump. And we are now working with various other partners, including the ones Tata Memorial and IIT, but many others, to develop newer CAR T-cell therapies in India, which will be even cheaper.
Right.
And will be available for treatment of different cancers. So this is number 2. The number 3 thing that we are focusing on is trying to work on more difficult, resistant, recalcitrant problems of our country. Examples are anemia in women and children, childhood malnutrition, the increasing burden of non-communicable diseases, the effects of climate change on health. And these difficult problems require out-of-the-box solutions. And we are going to fund them and going to support them both from our intramural and extramural programs. Finally, I'd like to highlight that we would be using the digital, technological, and artificial intelligence revolution to make available many of the health-related technological solutions, right from primary health care up to tertiary hospital level care. So these are the key priority areas for research. It's a very exciting period for research.
Absolutely.
Given that there is newfound confidence in India.
Yes.
After the pandemic, where we were able to not only fare for ourselves, but just to state one thing, that we have made vaccines on more platforms than anyone else in the world, including United States, UK, China, any other country. It is indeed an exciting time.
And something to be extremely proud of, I'm sure. And I think my next question, just based off of some of the things you've said, is clearly India and ICMR as a core integral part of this strategy is looking at becoming a leader in the emerging world, in the developing world. And what role do you see for ICMR in driving some of these domestic partnerships, international collaborations, to actually take forward this goal that India has in ensuring access to healthcare for everybody universally?
So I already highlighted the areas in which we would like to work, and I'll highlight some possible mechanisms by which we will work. So I'll start first with the ICMR institutions. We have 27 institutions all across the country, right, which we call our intramural program. The shift that we have made in the past year or so is that instead of each scientist only doing what they would want to do, an investigator-initiated project, we have defined team priorities for the institute. Like each institute has defined together 5 priority areas for research. Let's say the National Institute for Research in Tuberculosis would have these 5 areas of research, and then they would be funded by ICMR in teams to do this kind of research, which will be much more meaningful and impactful than small isolated projects. On the other side, we also have an extramural program in ICMR. We are one of the bigger funders of research in the country, of all medical colleges, other health research institutions in the country. And what we have done is made 3 significant changes. A is to focus more on solutions rather than describing the problems. Because previous research, the easier research to do is to do descriptive research, describe what the problems are, define the problem, do a survey, do a study to describe the disease, the condition, the risk factors.
Of course.
But moving beyond is much more difficult to discover
solutions, of course.
Solutions, to discover new things, completely new. And at one point, there was lack of confidence that we will do that, and we would rather wait for others to first find solutions and then we would make them better. Now we are focusing on basic research, which is focused on discovery, as well as the development of those leads into interventions, such as vaccines, therapeutics, devices, diagnostics, or other public health interventions. We are also working to make the delivery of these interventions that we know work, could improve health of populations, but do not reach the people. So trying to do research on how to implement better in a way that we would be able to deliver all the interventions to the people who need them. Because the ultimate impact is equivalent to how good the interventions are.
Right.
But also that they reach the people who require them.
Absolutely. How far and how efficiently they also reach.
Exactly. So what we have done there in terms of funding is also to change the funding in a way to make it more internationally equivalent. It means bigger grants, more meaningful research. Even our small grants are now up to 2 crore rupees,
right,
which would be equivalent to what the NIH USA would give for a small grant.
Right.
It's about $250,000 US dollars. Similarly, what we did not have earlier is to then convert this type of studies into decisive projects. And we are now giving grants which we are calling intermediate grants of 2 to 8 crore rupees. 100 such grants were given last year.
Oh, I see.
To be able to now take the results from the smaller research trials or remote research studies into actual development of the products and evaluation of these products. Last year we funded around 25 centers for advanced research across the country, where we are looking for those people who have previously done good research, but then want to really solve a problem. And we ask them to create a research initiative to solve the problem. And they get up to 15 crore rupees each for a period of 5 years.
Right.
So the aim is larger, more meaningful grants, but more impactful solution-based research, which will help the people within a short period of time. That is the bigger change in the issues related to the mechanism. The last one is the implementation research, involving implementers and the national state health missions, state level national health missions. We are funding the National Health Research Priorities Program, which is usually multi-district implementation research projects, to be able to then see that if we can take the delivery of all the interventions that we know will improve health and well-being of people to the people who need them. And these are now, we started research projects of this type in 100 districts of the country last year.
Right.
And this will only expand as we go ahead. So the idea again is more meaningful, more impactful, more research that is in the service of better programs and in the service of people.
So I think this is Actually, it marks clearly a long trajectory and evolution and a lot of growth of the ICMR. And clearly there have been huge strategic shifts and big improvements. And all of this, I suppose, is leading towards the future. So everything that you have said, maybe I can ask you this. What is your vision for ICMR in 2047?
So when I think of ICMR in 2047, which is when India will be a developed country,
Of course.
we think of ICMR as the leader of research globally in health research and an institution that is able to foster not only research partnerships but build the capacity that the country needs to be a global leader, that it will be an organization that is not only one of the best in the world, but probably best in the world in terms of both national, international research funding, but also in terms of partnerships and institutions in India. Foster the institutions to become leaders in research in the world. Currently, for example, we would not find many institutions in the top 100 in the world. And we would like that as we get to 2047, we have a sizable chunk of those institutions from the country. And ICMR would be committed to going there and being there and keeping India there as the lead for research in the future.
Well, you have the hopes and best wishes of over 1 billion people with you. I'm sure that ICMR will take the country very far and be its pride and glory by 2047, and it already is. My last question to you for today. What is that one piece of advice that you would like to offer to aspiring researchers, scientists, and innovators that are actually interested in the field of biomedical research and innovation?
That is the most important question that you have asked.
I saved the best for last.
Yes, you did. Because no matter what institutions do, no matter what funding is available, no matter what equipment or infrastructure for research is available, eventually it is people and their mindsets of the researchers that will make India great in health research. And there I would like to tell people who are youngsters, who are in schools and colleges, doing their PhDs or their MDs in medicine, to think about a couple of things. They should keep that confidence very high, that we are the best in the world. We have proven ourselves to be the best in the world so many times. You go to any institution in the world, you will find 20 to 40% of people are of Indian origin. And actually, whether it is NASA or whether it is Stanford or Oxford or any other institution that says that it does the best research in the world. So there has never been a problem of capacity in this country. Right. What has been the issue has been confidence, but that is changed substantially already. Beyond that, what I would tell people is that choose careers that take you away a little bit of a risk, away from just becoming engineers and doctors and then just providing service. At least a few of them would take that risk to become innovators, researchers, entrepreneurs, and try and use that capacity and confidence and make themselves capable of doing highest quality research through learning the best research methods rather than going with what we think is reasonable. Highest quality research methods, and then don't be afraid of testing your ideas. None of those ideas that you have are foolish. All the ideas that today somebody thinks are not doable are the ones that have a possibility of becoming a great idea, a great research question, a great innovation of the future. So if we are going to be able to do that, if our young people are going in that direction, I don't see anybody stopping India from becoming a world's greatest country for research and innovation and science.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bahl. That was inspiring. That was, you're absolutely right. Our greatest asset, our greatest treasure is our people and our young people. And for you to inspire this confidence and ask them to keep asking the right questions and telling them that nothing is impossible is it's pure gold.
And just to add one more thing to this is that we need two things that we might need to get rid of, which are kind of the barriers to great science. And one is hierarchy. You don't have to become a 55-year-old professor to be smart. Most Nobel Prizes are won by people before they become 40. So in science, we cannot keep this hierarchy of the type that you are too young to have good ideas or you are too young to do great research. The second thing where we need to catch up with the rest of the world is the ability to collaborate, the ability to work with each other. We are much more used to individual brilliance than working and collaborating and making teams. So in addition to what I said earlier, if we can reduce the hierarchy and increase collaboration with only one goal, that the only thing you want is to defeat the enemy, which is that particular disease, condition, pathogen, that is the scourge of the world, that is the only competitor we should have, rather than trying to compete with each other and try and make that leap from individual brilliance to team science and team brilliance. If we are able to do the positives and also move away from some of these things that make us a little slower, we will go a very, very long way.
Well said, sir. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you about this, and absolutely right. There is no age for a great idea or for greatness.
Thank you.
So with that, I would like to thank you for being here with us today and for sharing some of your ideas, your vision, and most importantly, your advice. It is inspiring. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And thank you to our viewers and the audience watching. If you like this video, share it with your family and friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned for more episodes. Thank you and goodbye.